Hello, I'm Camelia and this is KiniNews. Several past leaders have raised suspicions over Anwar's claims that he is under pressure for his outspoken advocacy for the Palestinian people. They called on Anwar to reveal which countries had made threats. Several past leaders have questioned Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's claim that he is coming under pressure from Western powers, particularly the US and Europe, for his outspoken advocacy for the Palestinian people. In a statement, past Secretary General Takiyuddin Hassan questioned if the threat in question really exists. He pointed out that Malaysia's stand in supporting Palestine was not something new, as former leaders had also been vocal on the issue, but none had reported being threatened over it. He added that if the threat really exists, Anwar should have called the ambassador or representative of the country involved to convey Malaysia's objection to it, instead of making an open statement without an explanation. Takiyuddin claimed that Anwar made the alarmist statement to highlight his greatness and importance to gain public support and trust. He added that it was unfortunate that the claim was made at an event that should be fully dedicated to the struggle of the Palestinian people and was instead used to show the greatness of a leader. In addition, he said it can also create a negative image of the country because the Prime Minister makes such random and imaginary allegations. Meanwhile, past Information Chief Ahmad Fadli Shari has also questioned the claims. During a supplementary question in the Dewan Rakyat today, he called on Anwar to reveal which countries had pressured and threatened him.
Menteri kena dedahkan negara mana yang berani menekan, mengugut Perdana Menteri kita sayang ini. Sebab kita tak sanggup untuk melihat Perdana Menteri kita tekan dari ugut seperti ini. Kalau mereka berani menekan Perdana Menteri kita, Malaysia harus menghantar nota bantahan kepada kedutaan negara mereka yang ada di negara ini. Terima kasih, Menteri.
Several NGOs have called on the Education Ministry to not involve schools in global conflicts and disputes. This came after the Education Ministry instructed for a Solidarity Week with Palestine to be held from October 29th to November 3rd at all schools in the country. A group of NGOs has urged the Education Ministry and the government to keep international conflicts, religious disputes, and war cries out of schools and educational institutions. In a statement, the group said that they are looking at the seriousness of dragging school children into becoming part of the global, adult world of protest and not subject young minds to getting embroiled in this Middle East crisis. They said this while objecting to a notice from the Education Ministry calling for all schools to observe a week of solidarity to support the Palestinian cause amid the ongoing violence in Gaza. The NGOs said it was concerned by the administrative ruling that was not discussed in the Dewan Rakyat nor made with consulting parents. In the circular cited by Malaysia Kini, a notice from the Office of Education Ministry Deputy Permanent Secretary Azman Ahmad has instructed for the Solidarity Week to be held from October 29th to November 3rd and suggested 6 proposed activities to be carried out in all schools. In the statement, the group also cited a viral video believed to have been taken in a school in Malaysia in which young students were stomping on an Israeli flag, saying that it served to sow hatred in young, impressionable minds. The group added that the government needs to consider Malaysian students who are studying abroad, as their welfare and safety cannot be jeopardized as a result of the government's stand on the war. The statement was authored by 16 signatories, including Global Human Rights Federation President S. Sashi Kumar, lawyer Siti Kasim, Patriot founder Muhammad Arshad Raji, and activist Arun Dorasamy, among others. Several lawmakers also opposed the move. This included Barubian, who said that schools should remain as neutral spaces for learning, growth, and understanding. Several lawmakers have raised objections to Putrajaya's decision for all public schools to observe a Solidarity Week in support of the Palestinian cause. In a statement, Bak Kelalan Assemblyperson Barubian said that while he sympathizes with the victims of the armed conflicts, the Education Ministry's directive involved making students take sides over a complex geopolitical matter. He said it is essential that we empathize with their suffering and promote a message of peace. However, he said taking sides in these conflicts and involving young children in such politically complicated matters is not conducive to their well-being and education. He added that schools should remain neutral spaces for learning, growth, and understanding. He also called on the government to consider the precedents set by such actions. He said if they involve schools in one international conflict, what would stop them from doing the same in the case of other wars, like the Ukraine conflict or any future crisis? In view of this, Baru urged Putrajaya to reconsider the decision to ensure that schools remain unbiased and children are nurtured to be responsible, compassionate, and well-informed global citizens. He was responding to a notice from the Education Ministry for a Solidarity Week with Palestine to be held from October 29th to November 3rd. Following criticism over the matter, the Education Ministry had said that the program will teach students humanitarian values, which also cover human rights and courtesy. In a statement today, they said this includes empathy and attentiveness to the sufferings of other individuals regardless of race, religion, or social status. Law Siu Hong's lawyer has responded to criticism of the invitation for him to attend the PAS Muqtamar last week. Law's ex-husband had previously questioned why PAS had invited the lawyer. Lawyer Shamsher Singh Thind said he was not told why he was invited to the recent PAS Youth National Delegates meeting, but believed it was due to his defense of the party's policies online. In a statement today, he said the fact that he has been defending them was mentioned by PAS Vice President Idris Ahmad when he spoke at the PAS Supporters Wing Convention last week. He said this in response to a Malaysia Kini article which cited Muhammad Nagaswaran Muniandi, who is the ex-husband of Law Siu Hong, questioning PAS's motives in inviting the lawyer. Shamsher had represented Law in her attempts to secure custody of her 3 children from Nagaswaran, who had, without her knowledge, arranged for the children to be converted to Islam. Islamic preacher Nazira Nanta Kumari Abdullah, who was involved in Law's case, had also expressed shock and questioned PAS about Shamsher's presence at the Muqtamar. Commenting on this, Shamsher said the views expressed by Nagaswaran and Nazira on his participation in the PAS Youth Delegates Assembly was a form of slander and vowed to take legal action. Shamsher added that he accepts Islam's constitutional status and that Sharia was part of Malaysia's legal system. The court has set the date to hear the prosecution's bid to amend 3 charges against Najib. The decision will be made on November 6. The Kuala Lumpur High Court has set November 6 to decide whether to allow prosecutors to reduce the amount in 3 charges against former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak linked to the 2.27 billion ringgit 1MDB corruption case. During open court proceedings this morning, Najib's lead defense counsel Muhammad Shafi Abdullah had applied to vacate today's trial as the defense team needed more time to prepare submissions against the prosecution's amendment bid. He said despite their best efforts, the legal team still required more time to assemble the factual matrix of the case in relation to the 3 charges that prosecutors seek to amend. Shafi added that this required them to go through the testimony of several witnesses. Judge Colin Lawrence Suquira then vacated today's proceedings and set the trial to resume on November 6 as there were no objections from the prosecution. 2 days ago, Deputy Public Prosecutor Kamal Baharin Omar submitted that prosecutors were seeking the amendment due to the recent testimonies of 2 prosecution witnesses, namely Bank Negara Malaysia Money Trail analyst Adam Arif Muhammad Roslan and Fu Wei Min. The amendment application seeks to reduce the amount in one of the 4 abuse of power charges and also sought a reduction in the amount in 2 out of the 21 money laundering charges. However, Shafi objected to the prosecution's amendment bid, pointing out that the line of defense and cross-examination of the prosecutor's witnesses were based on the unamended amount of the charges. He said the proposed amendment could potentially change the defense's entire line of cross-examination on key prosecution witnesses and said that the prosecution should instead either maintain or drop the 3 charges against Najib. Najib, who is also a former finance minister, is facing 4 counts of abuse of power and 21 counts of money laundering involving 2.27 billion ringgit from 1MDB. The government will not make any hasty decisions on sending peacekeepers to Palestine and will consider whatever the United Nations decides. This is according to Defense Minister Muhammad Hassan. Defense Minister Muhammad Hassan said Malaysia will wait for the United Nations decision on whether to send peacekeepers to Palestine. According to Bernama, he said the government will not make any sudden decisions and will consider whatever the UN decides, especially where the Malaysian armed forces are concerned. Muhammad told reporters this after a medal award ceremony in Port Dickson today. He said as a non-aligned movement member under the UN, Malaysia has been part of the UN interim force in Lebanon previously. According to him, Malaysia has over 800 military personnel in Lebanon, as well as some officers on duty in Somalia and other African nations. He added that as a UN member, Malaysia will wait and see what their decision is and will assess from there on whether they need to be part of the peacekeeping force. Anwar's strong advocacy of Palestinian rights has received the support of MIM. Its president also called on the public to stand with Anwar on the issue. The Malaysian Consultative Council of Islamic Organizations, or MIM, has expressed support for Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's strong advocacy of Palestinian rights and his criticism of Western countries for the hypocrisy over their response to Palestine. In a statement, its President Muhammad Azmi Abdul Hamid said they support the Prime Minister's firm stand that Malaysia will not yield to threats. He added that Malaysia must assert its sovereignty and defend its rights to speak out based on principles of truth, justice, and humanity following international law. He said they firmly declared that if sanctions and restrictions are imposed on Malaysia, the entire population will stand behind the Prime Minister and support the government's position to ensure that the economic sovereignty remains intact. Azmi also said that Malaysians should express their solidarity with Anwar on the Palestinian issue, adding that the country should not rely solely on Western countries. The statement came following Anwar's speech at the Malaysia with Palestine rally, where he had revealed that he had received multiple threats from foreign countries following Malaysia's firm stand, support, and commitment to defending the rights of the Palestinians, as well as criticism leveled against the Israeli government. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to Kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Kimilia. Thanks for watching.